Hi, today I'm reviewing the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Skin Perfector. And really quick, I just want to say I purchase all these products with my own money, so you know you can trust my opinion is what I honestly believe. And if you want to help support the channel, click on the Amazon link below before you make your purchase. So this is a new addition to the Makeup Forever line, and they've come out with a soft light perfector and then the Ultra HD Skin Perfector, which is meant to be kind of a blurring, almost a beauty balm, because it's got the sunblock in there. So it's kind of something you would use in place of a foundation, and I'm wearing it right now. So if you wonder what it looks like on the skin, this is me wearing it. It is about medium coverage, I would say, but the one thing is it's not easily buildable. But let me start out with my Sarah scale, and I'll let you kind of know my thoughts on it. So my first criteria is packaging, and they've done a good job with the packaging. I love tube packaging. It makes it easy to dispense. Droppers were big for a while, but now it seems like tube packaging is in, and behind a pump bottle, the tube packaging is close second. Although it does make it easy to get every last drop out, I must say. So they did a good job with the packaging here. My second criteria is denatured alcohol, and unfortunately this does contain denatured alcohol. And actually it kind of surprised me after the first few weeks of using this. I hadn't looked at the ingredient list at all, and I didn't think it contained that, but it does. And it's pretty high up on the list of ingredients. This block right here is all of the ingredients, and the denatured alcohol is right there. So it's third line. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th ingredient in. So, you know, there's a lot of schools of thought when it comes to skincare. Like, there's the school of thought, the first 6 ingredients are the only things that matter, and the rest of it is in so little amounts that it doesn't matter. But, you know, you got to take things as a whole, and just because some ingredient is number 7 doesn't mean you get a lot less of it than you do number 6. So anyway, this would definitely be better without the alcohol. So unfortunately, I had to give it a thumb down for that criteria. Number 3 is fragrance, and this does contain fragrance as well. It is right here on the list, so it's near the bottom. And another that also surprised me, because using this for several weeks, I never noticed any scent noticeable or not. So kind of surprised me if there's any scent at all to it, but it's not noticeable at all, but it still would be better without it. So I had to give it a thumb down for that. But the one nice thing that I can say is you don't notice it, thankfully. So anyway, so number 4 is the manufacturing location, and this is manufactured in France. So no issues there. Number 5 is ease of use, and I gave it a thumb up for that. It's pretty easy to use, I found. I usually use like a damp sponge or beauty blender or one of the Real Technique sponges. And then I just kind of dab a little bit of that on, and it's pretty easy to apply. It spreads well, and it does a good job covering the skin and blurring out most minor imperfections. It is medium coverage, I would say, and the only thing I had difficulty with was building it. I just didn't find it was the most buildable product. So if you have a lot of discolorations or hyperpigmentation, you might want to get something that's a little more full coverage, or just use a concealer over some of those areas. But it does a good job covering most minor imperfections. And the one thing that I didn't like about it is the fact that it does sometimes settle into fine lines or creases. I just noticed it under my under eye area, but that was easily fixed and not a huge issue. But it's very easy to use, spreads easy, blends pretty easily, just not very buildable. So number 6 is pigmentation, and it's medium coverage. The only thing that some people might have some issues with is the shade range isn't super extensive. This shade I have is number 4. So usually I'm towards the lighter end of the spectrum for most products, but this doesn't have a huge shade range, and it might be a little bit difficult to find a very good match. So I highly recommend, if you can, go check this out in the store. if possible, just because some of those shades it's going to be hard maybe to find one that matches very good. Or you could possibly try and purchase a couple different colors and mix them. Or if you have any of like the Cover effects, they make those pigmentation drops that you can use to kind of transition colors and make things a little bit lighter, a little bit darker. So those are kind of my thoughts. If you have some of those drops, maybe get a little bit lighter shade and then you can add a couple drops and make it a little bit darker. So, but overall the pigmentation is quite nice for the most part. Number 7 is animal testing, and unfortunately Makeup Forever is not cruelty free as of right now, so I had to give them a thumb down for that. Number 8 was performance, and I gave them a thumb down for that solely because of the fact that it does tend to crease and settle into some fine lines. So if you don't have a lot of fine lines or any issue, you're probably not going to have any issues with that at all, so it's not as big of a concern. But if you're a little bit older or have some fine lines around your eyes, you might notice some settling. So, yeah, not a big fan of that. And the other issue I had was I really wish this were an SPF of 30 instead of 25. 30 is the gold standard for what you should be using every single day. But then again, relying on a product like this for your sole SPF is not the best, because to get good coverage, you need to apply it very liberally. I think the rule is like one of those little cups or like a shot glass is the amount of sunscreen you should be using on your face and neck. So it's quite a lot. And with this being a little bit difficult to build up, you're probably not going to be fully protected from the sun's rays. And it's only 25. So I recommend using a good SPF underneath this, waiting for it to dry and then applying this. Or even using a powder that has SPF and making sure you do a good covering of that. So kind of my issues there. It's 25, it's close. I just wish they would have boosted up just a little bit to get that 30 in there. Anyway, so price, it's a decent price. This is $36. It's 1 ounce. And a little bit goes a long way. So I think that's a pretty good price, especially nowadays when there's foundations. You can find a foundation at any price for however much money you want to spend, but $36 is a decent price. And then number 10, which is the It Factor, I did not give it a thumb up there. Had this been brought out a couple of years ago, I probably would have given a thumb up. A couple of years ago, it seemed like beauty balms and tinted moisturizers were kind of the big thing, and now we're kind of weaning off of that a little bit. So like I said, if this had a little bit better SPF and maybe a couple antioxidants in there, I probably would have given it a thumb up, which would have made it a good for your skin. But yeah, so my favorite beauty balm that I had was the Basha Tinted Moisturizer. I think it's got an SPF of 37 or 27. That was my favorite, and I think they recently stopped selling it, but that was a really good tinted beauty balm because it had some good SPF, good coverage, and a lot of good antioxidants for your skin. So they're not making any more, but if you check out Sephora once in a while, I'll find a tube here and there. So, but anyway, so overall, this got a 5 out of 10, which is not any thumbs up, but not any thumbs down. Yeah, there's a couple slight changes they could have made to make it a little bit better, but overall, it's a decent tinted moisturizer, skin blur, skin perfector, whatever they want to call it. So, but I definitely recommend checking out in the store and trying to get some swatches of it first, especially if you have very dark skin or very light skin, because those are kind of the two ends of the spectrum where there's not a lot of color shade range. So anyway, I'm interested if you guys have had a chance to check this out yet or not, and if so, what your thoughts were, if you like it or not, or have you tried any of the other Makeup Forever foundations? They've got a great foundation line. So let me know what you've tried and how have you liked it. So leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already. I come with at least one new review every day. And check out nobsbeauty.net. Thank you so much, guys. Hi, this is Sarah from No BS Beauty, and I'm proud to offer you one of my first products. And it is a stainless steel makeup palette. And I've been using ones like these for quite a while, and it makes it a lot easier to mix kind of custom foundation shades, custom serums, custom lip colors. You need something like this in your makeup routine to make things a lot easier. And all the profits from it will go to help the channel, which I'm independent and I purchase all the products with my own money. So definitely all of the profits will go so I can continue to bring you good reviews. But, you know, things I like to use are retinol. Retinol is definitely a good thing to use, but sometimes some of them can be a little too strong. So sometimes I like to mix them with other serums. So I'll use this to kind of custom make my retinol at night. So it's a little bit less irritating when you mix it in with something else. Or another thing you can do is mix in a vitamin C. Some of these can be a little oily or greasy, so sometimes it's nice to be able to mix it in with another serum. So I like to use the Clinique one, and I'll mix this in just a little bit because otherwise sometimes it can be a little too oily. And I'll mix it in, and in the morning I'll apply it all over my face before sunscreen. And another good vitamin C serum I like is the Dermadoctor one, but sometimes using the dropper with that can be a little messy, so sometimes I just like to mix just a little bit in with another serum. I love the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Serum, definitely a holy grail of mine. And I like to mix that in with it as well. Or sometimes before I go to bed, if I've got something else going on the next day, I like to mix in a little bit of tanner, self-tanner, but sometimes if you use it alone, it can get a little too orange or a little too dark. So sometimes mixing that in with another serum makes it definitely a lot better and a lot more moisturizing for your skin as well. So definitely something you can use in your serums or your kind of custom make your own skincare routine by using that and mixing up all these products. So definitely something worth considering there. And I also like to use it to mix in some of my custom foundations. So let me show you that too. Another thing I've been using this palette for is mixing and kind of customizing my own foundation. You can almost create a specific color if you have certain foundations that don't mesh well with your skin tone or even your skin texture. You can almost create your own custom foundation. One foundation I love is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro. However, sometimes I can find it to be a little too drying and almost kind of giving you more of a matte finish. So sometimes I'll mix in a little bit of the Josie Mara and Argan Moonstone drops with it and then use it. And it kind of helps kind of lessen the color and kind of give it a little bit more of a glowy look. Another thing I like to use is mixing in sometimes with oil with a foundation, and sometimes that gives you more of a dewy look. So sometimes I'll mix that in with the Dr. Jart, and it helps give you a little bit more of a glow to it. So sometimes mix in just a little bit in, and you definitely want to be careful with what you're mixing just to make sure that the ingredients are compatible, because certain types of foundations don't work well with certain types of other ingredients, but something to consider, definitely. But you can almost create your own custom look. I love this, but sometimes I feel like I need a little bit of a glow to it, so I'll mix in some of my NYX Born to Glow Illuminator with it. So you can definitely do that. Also, Cover FX makes a great, they're custom cover drops, but you can use these to alter the color of any foundation. So this is great to mix that with. Just give it a couple drops there. And then mix that in with another foundation to make it either lighter or darker. The Ordinary Serum Foundation is great, but I found it difficult to get the exact color. So sometimes mixing the other colors works well. Cover FX also has these new glitter drops, so sometimes it's nice to be able to use this to mix in with either a foundation or just to put it on this. And then you can use a brush to either dip it in and apply it as eyeshadow, or dip it in and apply it onto lips as kind of a lipstick cover. So there's definitely some great options, and definitely love some of Cover FX's custom enhancer drops, but you can use this to mix it in with almost any different type of foundation and add a little bit of color here and there. But definitely using this, and if you use a sponge or a beauty blender, you can get that damp and then just use this to dip it in and apply it. It makes it a heck of a lot easier than than trying to do it in your hand, or I don't know where else you would even, maybe the lid of another product, but this definitely makes all of that a heck of a lot easier. So it's definitely something worth picking up. And all of the profits from the sales of this palette will go to support my independent reviews. I purchase all the products myself just so I can give you an honest opinion as opposed to somebody that gets the products for free to review. I personally like to purchase them so I can give you my completely objective review without having to feel like I owe a company anything because they gave me something free. So all the profits will go to help support those reviews.